Welcome back. We're going to be going over pivot points. So a Forex pivot point is an indicator developed by floor traders in the commodities market to determine potential turning points. Also known as pivots, Forex pivot points are calculated to determine levels in which the sentiment of the market could change from bullish to bearish. Currency traders see pivot points as markers of support and resistance. Day traders will also use pivot points as a way to determine when market sentiment has gone from bullish to bearish or vice versa. Okay. Yeah, there is like a formula. I think it was like the high, the low, and the close divided by 3. I got that right. I can't remember rightly, but yeah, it was the high, the low, the close. Add them all up, then divide them by 3, and it'll give you your pivot point. Okay. So as you can see on my screen, I'm using a daily pivot point to find them a bit more effective. On the classic, I put it on the classic. You've got traditional, Fibonacci, Woody, DM. But yeah, I'll pretty much go for classic. I'll go for a daily. I find them more effective. You can go to, you can put yearly ones if you really want, weekly or monthly, right? Pretty much 3 is sufficient, but in this video, because I'm going to go back and back test 50, I usually put down 3, so I've got 3 days worth of pivot points. Yeah. Also, pivot, P for pivot, S1, support 1, resistance 1, support 2, resistance 2, support 3, resistance 3. I hardly see price ever go to S4, R4 unless there's really high news, very volatile, but I rarely see S4 or R4. You hardly really see S3 and R3s. These are the 2 main ones. So yeah, I'm sitting on the 1 hour now. Now we have our resistance over here. Those we can see the last 3 days, the resistance level's always been around here, right? So it's broken, at the moment it's broken the R1 and it's respected it. So it's come back up, retested, come back up, right? So that, we can mark that as a zone, right? Because we have a lovely pivot area. Zones, red zones. There you go. So that's a zone for me. So it's come up, broke it, retested it. So you can either take the retest or the breakout. If you're gonna take the breakout, there you go. Take the breakout of this, and then take the retest of the zone, or wait for it to break out so it don't freak you out. Come back in, retest, go back up. Let me show you some examples. So a lot of the pivots you'll see from R2, they always reject around the R2, S2 areas. I said you hardly see them on S3s or R3s. Let's go back. Let's go back and have a look. I said, let's have a look over here, yeah. So there's R1 down to S1. So it's come up. Let me put out. Let me mark a zone. PS. That's the pivot. We've got R1, R1. So this is a zone right here, right? Last 3 days. Let's just put that down as a zone. Pretty big zone. Don't like that size. 40 pips deep. Cool. So yeah, okay, anyways. So I'll mark this as a zone, all the R1s, support resistance. It's come up, it's hit the R1, it's not really breaking it, it's just, then look at this, it's whipped out here as well. So this is a strong zone right here, right? Given it being on a 1 hour and we're using a daily as well. So eventually, if it keeps coming up, knocking it down. So it's come up, hit the R1, rejected, doji, it's come back down, gone back up, tried to break it, did break it, but it couldn't go any further. Like, see, you got these here as well. This R1 right here, R2 right here. It couldn't go any further. Made it come back down, and then it's just started wicking. And this must be news. It has to be news here for that time as well. That's probably Donald Trump talking for them times. So yeah, it's made this a spinning top. Made a spinning top right there. It's come back, rejected it again. It's come back down. But eventually you're going to be waiting for an entry. But you seeing all this wicking, bouncing around, playing around this zone. You eventually you're going to wait for a rejection or for an entry. Sorry. So you take the entry right there. You put your stop loss. Down really, because this wicked out here. So imagine if you put your stop. So imagine if you got in here, in this one or something, and you put your stop loss there, you would have been stopped out. I said this is news. So okay, you got stopped out. You get back in again. So if you got in here, you would have lost 26 pips, 20.6 pips, right? You're like, cool. Get back in again. Wait for that to go. And you enter again. Put your stop loss here this time. 20 pips. Then you ride it all the way down. I would probably take profit. I'm usually not greedy. I would take profit here. Perfect. S1. R1 to S1. If you really want to hold it out, yeah, cool. So pretty much that's how you would take your pivot entries from R1, S1 or R2 to S2. So you'll be taking profits around that. So looking at the S2, so yeah, you'll take profit at S2, right? And then you'll wait for the next. So this is the next day right here, right? So there's new set pivots. And you see the pivot bounce right here? Struck pivot. So throughout Asia, it's come down to the S1 and it's come back up for London. So London's here, right? Here's London. During London, it comes up, it hits this pivot, and then it bounces off this pivot all the way down to the S1. So you've got to place your trades. So you could be scalping this, placing your trade all the way down to the S1. That's nice. That's a nice 106 pips. Beautiful. Yeah, and then New York, I think, yeah, probably London and New York all the way down to the S1. So that's a day's trade right there, yeah. S2 right here, rejection. This is late in the afternoon. Rejection of the S2, up again. Come back down S1. So this is the zone right here, right? Let's come back up. So you're looking at 8 o'clock London time. You'll wake up in the morning and you'll see Asia session, and this is Asia right here, right? And you see the rejection of this. So yeah, you could have woke up London, got in at London, and then all the way up to the pivot. So that's London and New York, all the way up. So if you're not greedy, you would have took this. Yeah, 98 pips for the day. So in 2 days, you made 100 here and you had 98 here. So just under, what is it, 103? So just around 200 pips in 2 days. That's your week done. Like how many pips do you want in the week? You know. So you can go back as far as you want. You'll see rejection again. S2 rejection. R2. You hardly see them up these areas unless they're news. Alright. So yeah, that's how you use pivot points. If there's any questions, ask down below. Now comment down below, like, subscribe, join up to the channel, get involved. Yeah, we're gonna keep doing these on a regular. Alright, see you in the next one.